What's up, guys? I just wanted to talk a bit about what happened today with the Martinsville race. Unfortunately, I think we saw a really solid race kind of get ruined towards the end because there was a lot of what seems to be race manipulation going on. A lot of people are talking about that. That unfortunately seems to be the main story right now. Uh, with the playoffs, you had people in, people out, and towards the end of the race, you saw a lot of shady stuff going on. And there's a big divide in the community, the fan base, as to what happened, who's to blame, what's right, what's wrong. I don't have a dog in the fight. There isn't anyone in the playoffs I care, or root for. I just want to see some good, clean racing. That's it. As a fan, that's all I'm asking for. And we saw Chastain and Austin Dillon what seemed to be purposely blocking to help another Chevy. You got these manufacturers that work together. Um, Sometimes it's hard to know when somebody's manipulating a race, and other times it's pretty clear. You can check, the radio. You could see what drivers are being told. Usually, I would say 9 out of 10 times you could bust somebody based on what's being said on the radio. A lot of these drivers are not fully aware of where everyone is on the track. And honestly, I don't think too many of these drivers actually care to help others. Like, they're just worried about themselves, right? As they should be. But unfortunately, you got manufacturers working together. There's a lot of crazy shit that goes on. This is not new in NASCAR. It's been going on for as long as I've been a fan. But usually you see this stuff at like super speedways, Daytona, Talladega. It's one of many reasons I hate pack racing. Anytime you have a race where you can't win by yourself, where you have to rely on what other people do for you for success, that's a problem for me. It's one of the main reasons I've always hated pack racing. You can't do anything without the help of somebody. And you do see a lot of race manipulation from different manufacturers, whether they refuse to help or work with somebody. You'll see them arguing about why somebody left somebody out to hang at a specific time. I've never been a fan of any of that stuff. I've always hated it. I don't think it's good for the sport. I want to see everyone go all out. I don't want people helping other people. The only time I could kind of see is if it's a direct teammate, and let's say, you're drafted. Like, we saw this last week. I think at some point Logano was getting help from Blaney, or the other way around, whatever it was. I don't know if it was last week or whatever, but at a certain point, if you're a lap down car and you could get behind a teammate and help them kind of catch somebody, yeah, you help them. I mean, that is the one time I could see, but when you block, that's not good. So we saw Dillon, we saw Chastain. It seems pretty clear they were blocking for Byron. Then we saw what happened with Bubba Wallace. Again, I would go to the radio. If he was told at any point what was going on and he suddenly found, he was having a flat, that's a problem. That's race manipulation, and you got to deal with everyone involved. The move that Bell made, in my opinion, I don't think it's the same as what Chastain did. What Ross Chastain did was clear, obvious. It was planned. It was like a desperate move. He made it, and the rest was history. But NASCAR made the right decision to outlaw that kind of move. I don't see Christopher Bell purposely riding the wall. I think he made a move. He overdrove the corner. He got really tight and he drove up towards the wall. The problem is, once he got on the wall, he accelerated. He really should have slowed down, or at least let the car coast until he could pull the car off the wall before he accelerated again. I know that's hard to do last lap, but he did technically ride the wall. So that's not a hill I'm going to die on. I don't have a problem with NASCAR looking at that and saying that was wall riding. The problem is, the 26 car did get help. Not the 24 car. I'm sorry. Got help from cars that were clearly blocking for him. So there was race manipulation going on everywhere. So how do you pick and choose what's correct, what isn't? This is where I blame NASCAR for all of this, because NASCAR has allowed this stuff to go on for many years. Like I said, watch any restrictor plate race or pack race or Daytona, Talladega, pack racing, whatever. This stuff goes on all the time. That doesn't make it okay. In fact, I'm against that stuff. I don't like it. How do you stop it in a pack race? It's very difficult to stop it, but this is what happens. You let people get away with things and do things. Just go back a couple years ago. I remember Chase Elliott at Bristol purposely blocking Kevin Harvick for like many laps. NASCAR did nothing about it. Kevin Harvick had the fastest car that day. He was pretty dominant. And because Chase Elliott threw a temper tantrum because Kevin Harvick got into him. I mean, it's a short track. It wasn't dirty at all. It was just hard racing. He didn't purposely wreck him or anything. He just, he got into him. And Chase Elliott, and this wasn't like a quick one lap thing. He did something. This was for lap after lap after lap. He kept blocking Kevin Harvick. And Kevin Harvick couldn't pass him because he was trying to wreck him. NASCAR did absolutely nothing about it. They didn't do anything to the Golden Boy. They let that happen. And I'm not a Kevin Harvick fan, never was, but what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. When you let these guys get away with stuff, you're sending a message that certain things are okay to do. So I don't have a problem if NASCAR wants to say Bell technically was wall riding. I don't think it was the same thing as Chastain at all, but maybe he could have waited a split second longer, pulled the car off the wall before he got back on. He did kind of accelerate and kind of use the wall. I'm not going to argue about that. It was borderline. But my point is they looked at that, they took that spot away, but they didn't even consider what was going on with the blocking. I think they should have went back. They should have checked all the radio of everything that everyone was doing. A lot of it just seemed obvious, like there was race manipulation going on. And NASCAR is largely responsible for allowing this type of shit to go on. This is not the first time. This has been going on in NASCAR for a long time. Usually we see this at Daytona, Talladega. It's usually not a problem at other racetracks. But it does happen. And NASCAR needs to do a better job of officiating and policing this stuff. You can't just cherry pick moments. This is a playoff race, a very big... this was a huge moment for either the 24 car or Christopher Bell, the 20 car. and somebody lost the playoff spot because of a decision NASCAR made. And I'm not telling you they were wrong. Like I said, I don't have a big problem with them saying, okay, technically the wall riding is a problem. We're not allowing it. And he kind of did it. But he overdrove the corner. It's tough to judge that stuff. But go back. Check the radios. See what drivers were told. If Bubba Wallace was told the situation and suddenly, oh, I'm having a tire go down, you could verify. You could check the car to see if there's a flat or something. Like, NASCAR could do a lot more to investigate this stuff. If it takes longer, so be it. But they just made a decision, and just, it was a lot of people involved in race manipulation. And it's sad that such a solid race has to end in such a controversial way. NASCAR has a lot of work to do. I think the biggest problem people have is the inconsistent policing of NASCAR. They seem to cherry pick when something's okay, when it's not okay. Like I said, Chase Elliott, some of you might remember that. It was a race at Bristol, and he just blocked Kevin Harvick for like, I forgot how many fucking laps. It was insane that this was going on, and NASCAR did nothing about it. That's race manipulation. Kevin Harvick could have won that race, ended up not winning it. If Harvick should have beat the shit out of him after the race. Like, somebody has to police what's going on. It's messed up that a race that was, in my opinion, one of the better Martinsville races. This race was nowhere near as good as last week, of course. But for a short track race, I thought we saw a really above average race for sure. It's just, to have it end like that, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And all these manufacturers and all this unwritten rules bullshit, NASCAR needs to do a better job. And it's a shame. I don't have a dog in the fight. Like I said, I couldn't care less if it was Christopher Bell who got through or the 24 car. It doesn't matter to me. But how it happened, all the race manipulation that was clearly going on, it's an embarrassment. It's a stain on NASCAR, on the legitimacy of the racing, and all these owners, all of these people that were involved should be ashamed of themselves. These drivers, if somebody's yelling in their radio telling them to do something, I kind of feel bad for them because they're getting orders to do something. They're sort of, they have to do what they're told. But NASCAR has to investigate. They got to go to these spotters. Where are these orders coming from? From the owners? Did the spotter just decide? Did the crew chief? Like, there are more people involved than just the drivers. But NASCAR needs to get their hands around this thing and do something. This is a joke. So those are my thoughts on that. I look forward to your comments later.